I'd like to thank everybody for coming along today to the press conference for show on the 26th of February here at Newcastle City Juniors. It's great to have all most of the fighters are on the bill here today. Much appreciate them spending time out of their training programs to come in to publicise themselves a little bit. So if anybody's got any questions, anything like that, please feel free to ask. We'll answer them the best we possibly can, you know.
Hi Matt, you kind of set the template for your last show. Is that for competitive fights? Is that the idea going into the next show? Are you going to keep trying to match your guys like quite tough?
Yes, honest, they've got aspirations to do well in the sport, and it's no good sugarcoating records. Realistically, to see how far they can go, you may as well start them off at a level where the fights will be competitive, but they'll be put in fights that I think personally that they can win. And it's the same with the other fighters that's come on board to box on our shows, who I don't manage or train, but I've got the pleasure to actually promote them on our shows. And them are the same. They've stepped up and said them are quite willing to take challenges as well. So.
All right, cheers. On reflection from the last show, is anything going into this show that you would maybe do different, or something that you maybe made a mistake on and that you wouldn't do again?
There's lots to reflect on from the last show. A lot of eye openers and things like that. Things like obviously you've been in the sport in one particular aspect of it, so you don't understand the rest of the procedures, what other people are doing in the sport, until you actually start doing them yourself. So there was a lot that went on that show that totally it shocked me totally. Exactly. I don't want to get into detail or anything like that, but it really opened my eyes a lot, like how the sport's run on different levels, and it's some of it was nice and some of it wasn't.
Is that something that you're going to take into account and think they are making mistakes and I'm not going to do them, or have you learned from them?
I don't think it's I don't think it was a mistake on any of it really. I think it was just some people run things differently to the way I would want to run it, you know. So and if that's the way they want to carry on in the sport, that's their right, you know. But obviously we jumped on this show pretty quick after the last one, because we knew we had the date already set in our head what date we wanted to go on. So we jumped on it pretty quick, got the matchmaker involved pretty quick, Jack, introduced them to the fighters, and we took it basically straight away from there. So once the last show was out the way, we're actually working on this one.
Excellent, thanks.
I want to go to Daryl. Hello.
Hello, Matt.
So this fight here, it's been your fourth fight, and since the last one, it's almost barring 2 days. It's 2 years to the day, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still things we can't help, COVID, etc. But yeah, it's been a long 2 years out the ring, really, to be honest. So looking forward to getting back in there.
And what do you know about your opponent?
I don't know a great deal. I know he's got a good record. He's no journeyman. He's had 3, 1, 2 and lost 1. I asked for a bit of a tougher test this time going into this fight. So that's what I've got. It's a step up, really. Like I say, he comes to win. He's had 2 wins to his name. He's had one loss. I've had 3 wins. So it's all the makings for a good fight, I would have said.
To go Matt Jobe's card fight, competitively matched.
Yep, that's what we asked for.
The best out of you though, isn't it?
Well, that's what I've asked for. I asked for a test going into to see where I'm at. Like I say, I haven't boxed in 2 years, but there's no point beating around the bush anymore, is there? So we've asked for a test and we've got one, so we go to work with him.
Quick question for Matt. Obviously 2 weeks out now. Obviously some of the fighters are matched. So I'm guessing some aren't. What's the situation with that in terms of who's matched and who's not at the moment?
All the fighters on the table today are all matched. So we're just waiting on Sam Menzies' opponent. Sam's weight, there's not many opponents about at his weight category. So it's obviously this fight that's being put forward, which we're looking at the moment with his management team, without getting into too much detail talking with other people's fighters. But it's like I say, we're working on that at the moment. Jack's never stopped working on the matchmaking from day one. His communication skills has been brilliant with us, and it's been good with other managers as well. So.
Brilliant. Nathan? Hello.
Hello, Phil.
So, obviously you were meant to be out on the last show. That didn't work out. Nobody gets to blame, of course. You've obviously matched for this one. Do you know who you're fighting and what's the situation?
I do, yeah. The situation is a boxing match, 26th of February, and yes, I'm matched, and I haven't heard anything else. I haven't heard that he's dropped out, so I'm over the moon with that. And like Matt said, Jack got on it straight away. I was obviously very disappointed after not getting a box in December, but Matty introduced me to Jack within probably the week after that show, and started to make the changes that obviously were needed to happen for the next one. So just for my confidence, you know what I mean, I wanted to be matched early, and you know, Jack secured that for me, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, as long as God willing he shows up, I'm ready to go. So yeah.
Brilliant, looking forward to it.
Thank you, Phil.
Enrico, next door.
Yeah.
Obviously, very, very tough match in terms of the matchup for your first fight, 2-0.
Yeah.
A bit of an experience in there, but you learn from experience. How have you been since then, and how are you going into this one?
Feeling good, confident, ready to go, because got in straight away into the deep end, so I know what it's all about now, and then just on to the next one.
Brilliant. Matt?
Read.
Yeah, some would say fight of the night was action-packed 4 rounds.
It was good, wasn't it?
Last time out. Do you know who you've got for this one, and how's things going?
I've got the Pooch. He's your mate, isn't he? Yeah. Apparently it's going to be his 150th fight. He actually boxed last night, and I watched him on that MTK show in the York Hall.
Yeah.
Very experienced kid. Perfect for my first 6-rounder. So looking forward to it,
Yeah, you will put the pressure on, but obviously Greg
Yeah.
O'Neill did a bit of that, and that sort of...
Yeah, there's a total different fight this. Unless he comes for a proper straightener, which, part of his kind of hopes he does, because I love a straightener. But at the same time, I don't think he'll do that, and I want to show me boxing skills, I didn't show an awful lot of that against Greg, but I knew for 4 rounds I could trade with him. Different type of fight, which is good. I want, all different scenarios, and then, just move on, step it up every fight.
This is your first fight under new management with Matt George now.
Yeah, it is. Matt's got something really good going here, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. The first show, as you know, was brilliant at the Hilton. I'm sure this will be just as good, if not better, and then we'll build and have a cracking year,
We're moving across the table. Kerry, how's everything going in terms of getting ready for this? I'm guessing you're matched up and you've got an idea who you're fighting?
Yes, matched really early this time. Looking forward to it. Always in the gym, but that's not something that's unordinary. Yeah. Doing really well, weights coming down really well, and just training hard.
Looking forward to 2 weeks out then?
Definitely, yeah. Getting a little bit nervous now as it's creeping up, but I'll be ready on the night.
Yeah, if you don't get any nerves though, that's when it's a problem, I think.
Yeah.
Jordan?
Oi, oi.
Oi, Sam, oi.
What's happening?
Well, on the show on in 2 weeks' time, and you're matched up, you're fighting?
Yes, someone from...
Well?
Yeah, everything's good. Girl from Poland, experience. She's had 60-odd fights. I watched her last fight with Raven Chapman, so look, she's no pushover, so just gotta stay switched on.
Was it another well-matched card? Mr. Jobs?
Yeah, like Jack jumped on it straight away, like I said, after Christmas got out of the way, and when we were approached what fighters we wanted on the show, it realistically it was just going to be a 6-card show, and then obviously some people asked us for some favours to put boxers on, which the other directors wasn't too keen about, but but I made the decision to put these on. Like Darryl, Phil asked us, could I get another fight on? And like, obviously, was working closely with Phil all these years. I said yes. Didn't know what fight he had in mind, what he wanted us to put on. And he introduced us to Darryl, and it's been an absolute pleasure meeting the lad, and his coaching team. I didn't really know much about Jordan, his coach. I heard of him, but didn't really know much about him. And he's been up to the gym a few times, sparring with a few of his lads, and I've watched him in depth a little bit more. And I rate him very highly as a young coach coming through. I like some of the stuff that he's doing. And I've seen it in the lads that he's training, they look really, really good, So hats off to him for doing an absolutely cracking job. And if I can help these young kids start nude, great for them.
I've got a question for Kerry. Cancer research was one of your main motivations going into your first fight. Have you developed any new motivations going into your next fight?
No, just going to try and get as far as I can in the sport. Obviously, that was my starting block, and that's why I'm here today. Just built on it, loved it from day one as soon as I stepped through the boxing gym, and I've just kept plugging away at it.
Brilliant, thanks. Question for Matt. Matt, you said that how fit you were going into your last fight, that'll take you through like all your fights. Is that something that you're going to rely on, being how fit you are, that in the back of your mind that's going to take you through every fight? Or I'm just quite interested in, to know what you say about that.
Yeah, I think it's, fitness wins fights, a lot of the time. You get two, I'm sure I'll meet me maker one day and we'll both be as fit as each other, and then it'll rely on who's got, the better boxing skills or who's got more heart, But I bet you I could match anyone for heart as well. But fitness wins fights, and I just want to keep improving, get as fit as I can. Every fight I want to be fitter and better than the last time, and that's the way I sort of live my life.
Great, thanks a lot.
Jordan. Here we go. Hello.
Go on then.
Okay, so last time it didn't go your way. Are you motivated for this one to put everything right, and what's your mindset going into it?
100%. Look, it wasn't my night in November. That was my decision. I took the fight. Looking back, I shouldn't have. But I had the time off I needed, and it's totally different gravy now. Like, training's been different, my mindset's been different. I've got my food right, I've got a good nutritionist on board, so I feel 100% confident going into this fight. And I just want to showcase some skills on what we've been working on in the gym with Nick, so fully confident in my ability.
And Kerry, this will be your debut?
Yeah.
It's been on, off for, I don't know, what, a year now?
Yes, I've been out of the ring for well over 2 years now, so I'm just really looking forward to getting in there, getting the ring rust off and starting again, really, in a different rank.
Do you get fight nerves?
Yes, definitely.
You do?
Really bad, yeah.
Well, I think you've got your stable mate next to you.
Yeah, it's nice to be boxing on the same show, to tell you the truth, so...
We'll keep each other calm. That's not me, I don't do PDA.
So, is anybody here looking for a knockout?
Everyone.
Yeah.
The only thing with knockouts is when you go looking for them, you never get them.
Yeah.
You get knocked out.
So.
I've got a question for Enrico. I think you've got one of your friends fighting on a card tonight. Is it original African?
Yeah.
Are you going to be there giving them a bit of support?
Yeah, I'll be there. Good
Have
support.
you been coming to the gym and getting some tips off you? Or
Nah,
have you
we
been
just
showing them a few things going in?
there's a couple of things here and there,
Couple of slow, yeah.
The headbutt.
I've got a kind of a question for everyone, but it's kind of mainly at Jordan and Kerry. There's Yeah, there's kind of an historical fight coming up with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. And if you watch the press conference, it was said that she would go the 12 rounds, and she kind of declined going the 12 rounds. She wants to keep it at the 6. I mean, if that was you there, would you have went to the 12, or would you just save face and just say, I'll stay at the 6?
It was the 3-minute rounds.
The 3-minute rounds, yeah.
Yes, because for females it's 2-minute rounds, but Amanda put forward to it. I have 12 threes, and Katie didn't look too impressed. So,
No.
I mean, she's boxed her whole career at 2-minute rounds. So, would it be a stupid move to go to threes? That's probably the way that she's looking at it. But I think if it was to get accepted at 3-minute rounds, I think it would favour Amanda completely.
I think what I'm trying to ask, if that was you put in that position, someone asked you that, would you stick to what you know, or would you step up and go, look, I'll go 12 with you?
I think I'd rather fight at threes, if I'm honest, because as an amateur in at an elite level, you fight at 3-minute rounds anyway, so then you've got to go back down to fighting at 2s, which is what you start as an amateur. So it's like you're taking a bit of a back pedal, so I'd rather it be even to what the boys do. So yeah, if someone was challenging us, I don't see you can then do your training camp around 3-minute rounds.
Same question to Kerry?
Yeah, I would definitely take 12 threes. Always up for a challenge, and it's like Jordan said, in the amateurs we did fight 3 minutes and to go back to 2. And I think 3 minutes just gives you a lot more time to work. Obviously, a longer round, so you seem to settle into it more. It's a lot slower paced, and you can settle in. I think there'll be a lot more stoppages in the female boxing world with the 3-minute rounds.
I mean, this is a question to everyone. Do you think Amanda has kind of won a mental battle there at the press conference?
Yeah, I think so, because, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she's going to beat Katie Taylor, but it's I'm a little bit surprised that Katie Taylor wouldn't do the 12 threes, because I think she'd be capable of doing it, fit enough to do it. But it's one of them things. It's like, oh well, let's both get on a treadmill and see who gets off first. You know what I mean? It's that mentality thing. So maybe it's just a bit of kidiology or whatever, but I still think Katie Taylor wins that fight. Anyway, that's my 2 pence.
I mean, obviously I don't get in the ring, so I don't know. But the way I see it is, even if Katie didn't want to do the 12 threes, I think you almost kind of, from what Nathan was saying, you would almost say you do, just so that there is no psychological edge.
I think that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I think maybe Katie doesn't really care about mind games, and maybe at that level Katie's at and has been at for so long, she's past mind games at this point. So I don't think it'll have an overly massive bearing on the fight. But I mean, it would be an interesting discussion, and personally, from a spectator's perspective and even from a matchmaking perspective, it would make sense for it to be to go to 3-minute rounds right the way across the board, because it would make matchmaking a lot easier, because people, it's harder to get foreign people to come over for 2-minute rounds unless you can't basically do 4-rounders as a woman if you're getting foreigners over, because people will not come for 4-2s. I mean, a lot of these, and I think it's public knowledge because I think it's on box rate, that both Jordan and Kerry are 6-3s, 6-2s. Kerry's 6-2s because no one would come if it was 4-2s. You can't get a foreign opponent over for 4-2s. It doesn't work. So that's, from a matchmaking perspective, why I'd like to see it go to 3-minute rounds. But there is probably some scientific reason why it's 2s. Yeah. And it's probably people who are far brighter than me that figure that out. That's just the way I look at it, and my 2 pence worth on that.
Wouldn't that take away from the quality though? Because obviously, with the women's boxing, as high profile as it's starting to get now, it's a case of, if you went to 3-minute rounds, wouldn't the quality drop, in the sense of you guys have 2-minute rounds, so you've got you haven't got to worry too much about, say, your stamina and fatiguing as the fight goes on. So that's why a lot of the fights of the year have been female fights, because you guys can just go out there and have a slugfest if necessary.
I think you'd see things slow down a little bit more though, because like with the 2-minute rounds, everything, a lot of the female fights are quite fast paced, and a lot of them go in there to just have a war. So I think you'd see maybe it's a little bit more skilled, like, because you've got time to settle into it more. Minutes is a long time, it might not seem it, but it is when you're in the ring. So I don't know. I think eventually it will be at 3-minute rounds for girls.
Yeah. Any of the guys want to do 2-minute rounds? Matt, you definitely.
Need chance.
Seen it happen, and it's exactly the same where when you've had men's fights with 2-minute rounds, it's like some of the female fights, just when the action's really getting going in the round, and where you'd normally be going into the last minute, the bell goes and it stops. And I think with the 2-minute rounds, yeah, there's fitness levels, there's conditioning, you've got to pace yourself, there's tactics, all these different things to deal with. But that's the challenge you want, to do it on a level playing field and actually have the opportunity to make it more skilled than helter-skelter sort of, I don't know, like it's just two going at it, just energy levels.
Do you know if they introduce 3-minute rounds for women, women will adapt in box accordingly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They adapt in box in 2 minutes. And realistically, they've got to show so much in them 2 minutes. That's why it's a bit ferocious. I do not. That's why, because people like watching women's boxing, because it is a little bit more aggressive. Because they've got 2 minutes to show what they're capable of doing. I think if these lasses here, and I know them personally, and I've seen them spar, if you put these lasses on 3 minutes, believe me, they're skillful girls, and they'll do 3 minutes really, really well. And it's, once again, it's about having a time set. So if all these ladies who are boxing now, for the fact they're getting 3-minute rounds, that'll be incorporated into their training camps, and they'll be training on 3-minute rounds consistently for the fights, and they'll fight at 3 minutes. It's a nightmare for the lasses, because they've got to drop back down to them 2 minutes in the gym preparing for the fight again, because in the majority of the time they'll be doing 3 minutes, because they'll not just be sparring with other ladies, they'll be sparring with lads. You know, for me, I think they'll adapt accordingly. It doesn't make any difference if the ladies or gentlemen, the professional boxers at the end of the day, and these will adapt, and they're all professional.
Like you say, the training has to change, so you train for that, don't you?
Yeah.
I've actually preferred when I spar the 3-minute rounds, because you can actually relax into it a lot more, whereas sometimes the 2 minutes you're like, right, I need to like really go at it here, but then you don't get like your skills off as much. So
especially if you take a few shots at the start of the round, you're constantly behind straight away, you're going to be chasing it desperately.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of the female fights though that you see, that it is, a lot of them are war, because it's like you've only got 2 minutes to showcase this, whereas like that extra minute can make a big difference if you're slowing things down and just pick your shots and move.
I just find it a bit bizarre, because everything's meant to be equal in this world now, men and women. Yeah. If women want to fight 3-minute rounds, let them. Yeah. Like Marty says, they'll just adapt, you know. You'll just get used to it, and Jordan and Kerry probably, you know, they probably do more 3-minute rounds in the gym than 2. I'm assuming.
We do.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Matt, and then for anyone else who wants to chip in. Jake Paul's co-promoting with Eddie Hearn on this fight, so I mean, I'm just wondering what's your thoughts on Jake Paul maybe edging his way into promoting.
To Job's promotions, is that what you're going to ask? He's not getting a look in. He's not got the money. He's not got the minerals.
Start working for Jake Paul now.
Look, if it's going to benefit the sport, I'm up for anybody coming on board. Or then for the right reasons, who knows? But if the sport's going to benefit because of that, fair enough. You know, I'm in the sport for one reason only, and that's I love the sport, and I want to help these boxers on this table today. If it wasn't because of that, I wouldn't be doing it. I would have kept my building company and started making proper money.
But you've got a passion for it, so that's it, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's in my blood, so it's you know, that's why I do it.
Cheers, Matt. I've got a question for Mr. Hall. First time I've seen you, could you maybe introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, where do we start? I don't want to know. Chanel.
Top of the range.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty new to boxing, to be honest. I played football all my life, so I've only been boxing around 3 years, probably at a decent level anyway. I've always been in the gym, trying to keep fit and just hitting bags really, but only started getting coached really when I've been with Jordan. We've probably had 2 years together and I've been boxing 3. I started boxing in Australia, went there to play football, and I signed a pro contract there and boxed there twice. So that's how it come about. I just joined the gym in Australia and wanted to just hit the bags really, and I started sparring out there, and they said, look, we'll turn you over and have a fight on our show. So I did. So I'm just enjoying it. I'm brand new to the sport, learning every single day, and I love learning. So I'm picking it up. It's took a while to sink in. It's starting to come together nicely. So yeah, but I'm really enjoying being part of it and learning. Like I say, I like learning.
Excellent, mate. Thank you. Got a question for Enrico. I haven't had a chance to chat to you about your last fight. Could you maybe share some of your thoughts about your last fight and how you think it went? And
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of learning points from it that I kind of sat back, analysed. But the performance was alright. Could have been a lot better, certain parts of it. And then I just seen it, what it was, about edging it, because I see it was a draw. I thought I might have got 3-1, but you can't leave it in the judge's hands. So next time I'm going to be out there and put in more work, which I've done.
brilliant, thanks. Question for Nathan. Is it still head down, bum up, or has you changed your tactics now?
What do you think, mate? Mate, it's the same old story with me, you know what I mean? There's one place to find me, and that's in the gym. I'm there every day and chipping away and learning. And that's it. Nothing's changed. And I'm ready to just perform now. It's been a long time coming. And it's just about performing on the night and doing what I've been doing in the gym, in that room next door. And so long as I do, I'll leave that night a happy man.
Brilliant, thanks. Got a question for Matt. Matt, I've seen that you signed with Matt Jobs Boxing Promotions. Was that the plan from the start, or has that been like a sudden thing, or did Matt approach you, or you approach Matt, or what was the story?
It just sort of happened, but I've got to know Matt and the lads at the gym. Danny Harper's a good friend of mine who's part of the promotional company, and MTK didn't seem to want to renew my contract, so it just made it seemed the right decision, And like I said before, they've got some really good ideas and they've got some big aspirations, load of shows this year, and Matt's got my best interest at heart. He just wants the best for me, so it makes perfect sense, And I'm very happy and honoured to be part of the company,
I suppose a question for everybody, you can all answer, not even answer, but it's like you're all kind of at the same sort of place into the start of your journey, whether you've got your third fight, first fight, that sort of thing. You're all at the start of your journey, you're all coming through together. It's like a shared experience, as opposed to doing it by yourself. How does it feel when you've actually all got like a community of people starting together? Nathan, you start, go on.
I think it's nice and it's interesting, and it leaves your mind open to where we're going to end up. You know what I mean? We're all at this place now, but there's 1,000,001 and outcomes and places we could be. Who knows who's going to have titles on tables one day on this table? You know what I mean? That's all God's plan, and we'll see what happens. But it is nice because I think we've all got that same sort of hunger. You know what I mean? I've boxed on shows and I'm around these guys all the time, and I think it just it creates a good atmosphere for certain.
It creates a story as well, because like I say, when we've gone through the interviews, it's one of the key things I've focused on is we don't know where each journey is going to go to, how far, which bumps in the road you're going to hit along the way, that's what happens with life.
Yeah.
But it's that unknown factor and the potential, the unknown potential factor as well. And obviously with getting matched tough, the way Matt's actually making these shows go as well. It's like you are going to find things out about yourselves,
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
that is a good thing.
Not always at the time, sometimes it can be tough, but if you learn about yourself, you can improve yourself, you can build upon yourself. And that's how this thing seems to go. With the outside looking in.
Yeah, well, I think you answered your own question there, Phil.
There we go. I wasn't getting too much back, sorry. But that's how it appears on the outside looking in, though. It really is. It's like you've got multiple journeys, and we're at the start of it now, we just don't know where they're all going to go.
And none of us know where we're going to end up. You know what I mean? We've all got best laid plans, and I've got dreams, and I'm sure everyone up here does. And Matty has dreams for us all, but it's I think it's some of it. You know, it's how much hard work you put in, and then some of it is down to fate as well. It's, you know what I mean? Who you box, when do you box them? You know, and all these other factors that play into where you're going to end up.
Luck helps as well, I think.
Bit of luck.
Yeah.
Aye.
Or unluckiness, someone could get an injury, you know. There's nothing you can do about that, and that could rule you out for quite a while or scupper your career, you know. We all need a bit good luck at times, but I'm sure we all put the same amount of work and we all graft hard, you know. So, yeah, it's interesting. It is a really interesting point, you know. We're all sort of at that same level. So let's see what can happen, eh?
Definitely.
I think the one thing with the Northeast is, me being a massive part in the Northeast, is I want to promote some of the fighters that are coming through that unfortunately mightn't get on these big shows just yet. So when they're putting the big shows on in like the Matchroom and people like that are coming up, rightly so, because their production side is totally massive. So them need to put big names on to get money straight away. We appreciate that. So them are signing people who's probably had more illustrious amateur careers, I'll say, like where they've went on box for GB, or they've won the ABAs and things like that. So they've won their titles as an amateur, or they've had 100 odd amateur fights. The bigger promotion companies and the bigger managers are signing these kids up. So realistically, them are going to get on these shows, whether they're starting out in their professional careers or not. So the likes of lads on this table tonight, when they want to get on them shows, us as managers are going to these kids and saying, look, you've got to sell 55 tickets to get on these shows. So, and that's without even getting a wage yourself, right? And that's only if you're really, really lucky and you get offered an opportunity to do that. Because these bigger shows are all getting filled now with local fighters who's had good amateur careers. So the lads who haven't had really bad amateur careers, they've done really well in amateur careers, but aren't at that level, aren't getting on these big shows. So the leaves a void there for something like myself. That's what I seen in the market a couple of years ago. That's why I wanted to start the promotions company up, to get these lads and lasses out there, get them fighting, right? Getting them recognised, getting them in the public's eye, letting them see what these are all about. Because if it wasn't for that, then they're going to have to take bigger risks early on and get on the road straight away. Yeah. And people aren't, believe me, it's even hard going on the road now if you haven't had a bout. Jack will tell you, if somebody comes to us tomorrow and says, I want to sign with you and I want to fight on the road, right, but he hasn't had a pro bout yet, right, you try and match him on the road. Nobody will take the risk because there's no footage of him. Yeah. They don't know what he's like as a pro yet. They don't know what she's like as a pro yet, right? They'll not take the risk because they're that eager to hang on to the oars for the home fighters. Well, boxing's moving along like that. Jack will tell you as a matchmaker, you're not going to get these foreign opponents in all the time, right? They're getting knocked back off the board, right? For understandable reasons as well. You know, like it's... So therefore, to push people's careers on, you might have to match them just that little bit tougher than what normally in the past you have. But it's about getting these out, fighting, getting them recognised, right? And once these have 2 and 3 bouts, if the right bouts come in on the road, then we'll take them. Because then you'll be getting asked for these lads and lasses if they are willing to take them. But it's getting them up and running and getting them out there and getting their careers up and running. They're not getting their careers up and running just by spawning, sitting in a gym. Then when the show's on in the Northeast, they're not getting put on these shows. So the gap was there, hence why we made a decision, me and the rest of the production team, to go and do this.
And obviously getting the sponsors on board as well, that makes it,
Well, it helps.
a lot easier for the fighters in terms of not having the ticket deals.
Yeah, it helps massively, and that's why we try and work in the background as well, is trying to get these fights in so we can get a few bit sponsorships in so we can get these shows onto these people.
Because obviously from the fighter's perspective as well, obviously with the ticket deals, it's like the first couple of fights, it's easier to sell the tickets because you've got your fans, you've got your family, all that sort of things. But then after 2 or 3 fights, it's harder to keep getting the same numbers with the ticket deals and obviously covering your opponent, all of the extra things you have to cover. So the sponsorship that you and the team have actually got on, I'm sure all the guys can be very, very appreciative. Very.
Remember as well, the popular lads and lasses as well, right? So they will have support come watch them, regardless, right? But if they're only getting an opportunity once every 6 months to box on a show up here, and you can only put 12 bouts on a show, right? How many boxers now are professional in the Northeast? It's went through the roof, right? So the promoters at the time, also managers, they're going to look after their own stock.
Yeah.
So you're not going to fight on everyone. If I sign 40 odd fighters and I'm only having 2 shows a year and I'm only allowed 12 bouts on each show, how am I going to decide who goes on these shows? So hence why you've got to have the right shows so these lads and lasses can show their skills. And that's not like signing hundreds and hundreds of fighters. It's about helping the fighters at this level that mightn't be able to get on these big shows just yet. But believe me, in the next 18 months or 2 years, there'll probably be a headline on some of these big shows.
Well, again, that's the unknown journey, isn't it?
It is.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be fighting? I like it.
Well, I'm been inspired. That was really good. That was I enjoyed that speech.
Cheers, Matt.
Welcome.
Matt's monologue.
Any more questions? Has anyone else got any more questions they'd like to ask? Go for it.
Question at Dow Wall. You've just been training with Joseph Parker and taking a few strips of King. What's your thoughts on the upcoming fight on the 26th? Do you reckon that's benefited you in any way?
Yeah, we learned loads in a week, mate. It was absolutely out this world. Like I said, there was Rocky Field in there as well. He punched me head in yesterday. For 4 rounds, it was horrible. But no, it was absolutely brilliant. We did 15 rounds of body sparring with Tyson, Joe Parker and Rocky Field, and then they invited us back 2 days later, and we did the same again, but a bit more aggressive this time. So yeah, we got 15 threes out both days, and then Rocky invited us to the gym on the Friday morning before we flew home yesterday morning, and got 4 threes out with him, just at a very, very, very high tempo pace of him. And yeah, I learnt a lot just off the spar yesterday. It was brilliant. So yeah, unreal experience. Like, probably learnt a lot in a week, a real lot. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Anyone with a question? I'd like to just ask one last question to Jack. We didn't get a chance to interview you last time, and I think you were saying, are you the youngest matchmaker in the UK?
I think currently I am, yes. I think there is one that's been younger than me. I believe Ben Shalom had a licence younger than me, but I don't think anybody else has had one younger than me ever besides him, and I'm currently the youngest, yeah. I don't think there's actually also that many in the Northeast, so I think I'm in a very small number there as well.
Yeah. Right, thanks a lot. Anyone from the table like to add something that we haven't covered, or?
I'd just like to say it's a very, very professional setup, and it's nice to have the opportunity to be on this show, so I want to thank Matt and the team.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks,
the thing with like say with Kerry and Jordan as well is there's not that many lady fighters in the Northeast, and these are flying the flag for them as professionals. And So it realistically it's getting these out as well, because other promoters as well. Once I said again before, it's hard getting people on the shows. If I can help everybody, which I'm trying to do, I will. And to get these careers up and running, because like I see, another two ladies well, and they come to the gym sparring, and they're absolutely dynamite to have in. They get on with their work really well, and always nice and polite and thankful and all that. And hats off to them, you know. I hope they both get on to have really, really good careers.
Thank you.
Do you want another running order?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Well, the running order on the night, I'm going to tell the fighters the night, so they'll know why they're on anyway. So Kerry's going to be on first. Then Rico, second bout. Third bout's going to be Sam Menzies. Fourth bout's going to be Jordan. Fifth bout's going to be Kasim. Sixth is going to be Nathan. Seventh going to be Darryl. And then headlining for his sixth rounder is Matt. So that'll be the running order on the night. So
I got my wolf mask out, won't I? Give it a clean.
I'm just going to say something. Sorry if I feel everyone feels I'm stealing the limelight here. I just want to thank Matt, really, because you asked about me being the youngest matchmaker. Yeah, I am, and yes, MTK gave me a shot and things like that, and I worked with another promoter previously, which didn't work out for me. But MTK gave me a shot, and they're still nice enough to help me out and let me do fights for them as well. And so same with Pro Bellum. But Matt, the experience with Matt has enabled me to go full time as a matchmaker. So, I mean, if I hadn't been given this opportunity and he hadn't taken a chance on me like he has with his fighters, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I'm obviously very grateful for that. Obviously, yes, I understand I have a job to do, but it's still an opportunity, and it was a risk for Matt because he could have used a more established matchmaker who might have wanted to do it in amongst their other shows. And this has been, well, until I got it all sort of matched out, but been my priority since December to sort this and make sure all of you guys got on the card. I mean, I only met Darryl today, and I'm already thinking, right, okay, if I ever have to match him again, where could I go with this? And that's just the way I work. And I mean, people who get to know me, and hopefully people in the Northeast boxing will get to know me over the next few years, you'll get to realise that I want the similar to Matt. I want to match you tough so that when you get on those big shows, and you will, the matchmaker can go, there you go, you've got a really easy job because I've already put these guys in with people who are their level, who they can beat, but we're building them so that when they get on these big shows, they can go in with anyone and win. And then all of a sudden you've got the next Northeast superstar. That's something I want to do. I've made no bones about things I want to do on a personal level, but I'm not going to go into them right now. But I'm just really grateful for the opportunity.
Thanks a lot. I think that's it, guys. Thanks for coming down, and it's been really great chatting to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.